Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Overlord, which is directed by Julius Avery and is produced by J.J. Abrams, whose name has been plastered all over the marketing for this one, which doesn't actually hold that much clout anymore for me after the Cloverfield paradox, which this film isn't a part of, by the way. This one is set the night before the D-Day landings in World War II and follows a group of American soldiers dropped behind enemy lines on a mission to destroy a German radar tower, but they soon discovered the Nazis are working on something even more sinister in this small French town. See, I'd seen the trailer for this one and I thought, okay, worst case scenario, it's going to be a balls to the wall, Call of Duty style zombie Nazi shoot 'em up. Best case scenario, it's going to be a Saving Private Ryan meets 28 Days Later. And I think the film has tried to tick all three of those boxes, but for me, it didn't reach its full potential. To be fair to the film, it does kick off with a really exhilarating opening set piece, which will be very familiar to anyone who has watched Band of Brothers. If you know the scene I'm talking about, it's basically scene for scene, but it does benefit from improved CGI over the last 17 years. And the film does establish its main protagonists, these US soldiers, who I'll come back to and talk about a little bit later on in this review, and it gets them quite quickly to their objective. And I was rubbing my hands with anticipation, thinking, okay, this is when it's going to get really bloody messy, but then the film kind of just slows down. It's like it's stopping to try and raise the anticipation and the mystery surrounding what's going to happen. It's trying to make us think, ooh, what's going on here, and ooh, what on earth are they doing, when I kind of know what's going on there because I know the premise of the film, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the people going to see this already do as well. So I was sitting there thinking, why can't it just get on with it? That's not to say that things don't ramp up again for the third act, because it does, and there are some creepy moments along the way, and the film really does benefit from being an 18 rated or hard R film, but ultimately it devolves into this head-to-head battle which was very tongue-in-cheek and completely opposite to the serious tone it had in its first and second act. And that's why I'm a little bit disappointed with this film. The tone is just not very consistent. It's not a complete mixed bag, it's just not very consistent, and I think the film is trying to be too many things at once. It's trying to be an action, a horror, a thriller, a mystery, a sci-fi and a war film all rolled into one, and it doesn't quite all mix into a coherent piece for me. And this translates over into the performances. I think the most satisfying character is this girl called Chloe, played by Mathilde Ollivier. She's a French girl in the town, literally caught in the middle of everything. She has the most satisfying character arc, and she even has a Ripley-esque moment, but the rest of the soldiers and the Nazis are basically stock characters from every war film you've ever seen. Some of the performances are really quite bad. I don't think it's because it's a B-movie and they know it. I just think they are bad performances, but then they're also not helped by some truly awful dialogue, like the main US soldier in this, who I think played one of the characters in Black Mirror. He has some truly awful lines, like he actually says completely seriously to one of his other soldier mates, "Friends die," and it's like, okay. And then you've got the main Nazi villain, who is one of the characters in Game of Thrones. I think he plays Greyjoy. He kind of looked like a budget version of Michael Shannon in this, and to be fair, his performance is okay at first, but then his character just completely devolves into something else entirely. I was like, oh, okay, that's where this film is going. But I think the funniest character in this film for me was this really generic Italian-American soldier who's got this chip on his shoulder. It really reminded me of the guy who did that video about ordering a sausage and mushroom pizza. If you haven't seen it, this kid does this progressively more Italian-American sausage and pizza order. This character is like the third installment of that character. It's like, "Can I get a sausage and mushroom pizza?" You know. Again, this brings me back to its mismatch in tone, and I know that it's a zombie Nazi movie, so I shouldn't be taking it too seriously, but the film doesn't really follow its own internal logic. For example, and this is the last example I'll give, is that this band of soldiers are really on a stealth mission, and they spend a lot of their time kind of hiding and trying to keep quiet when they speak at the top of their voices and fire their guns, and then no one else seems to notice it. It's just some of its internal logic does fall down. So that's my thoughts on Overlord, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. I genuinely went into this one thinking it had potential to be better than the sum of its parts, but I do think it's trying to be too many things at once. I think if it got rid of the mystery thriller element, I mean, after all, we do know what we're getting with this one, I think it would have been better just as a straight up action horror romp. So thanks very much for watching my review. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments, and as always, thanks very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like, and don't forget to share the lave.